The morning briefing at Forward Operating Base Chapman fell into its familiar rhythm, Major Harrison's voice cutting through the Afghan heat as he outlined the day's operations. Captain Sarah Mitchell sat in the back corner, her logistics report spread across a worn metal table, systematically ignored as the infantry and special operations officers discussed real missions. When Harrison called for input on supply routes, the room's attention briefly shifted to her, before quickly returning to the tactical discussion. Mitchell handles the boring stuff. Lieutenant Colonel Barnes had mentioned the new arrivals just yesterday, his tone professionally courteous but dismissive. Keeps our bullets counted and our fuel flowing. Important work. The emphasis on important carried that particular military inflection, respectful acknowledgement that somehow diminished rather than elevated. Sarah had maintained her composed expression, years of similar interactions having taught her the futility of reaction. But those who bothered to observe closely might have noticed the anomalies. The way her eyes tracked every tactical detail discussed, absorbing grid coordinates and enemy positions with the intensity of someone planning an assault rather than a supply run. How her questions about convoy routes always probed deeper than logistics required, asking about sight lines, choke points, and evacuation routes with the precision of someone who understood battlefield geometry at a tactical level. Her desk held the standard logistics manuals, but beneath them lay dog-eared copies of urban warfare doctrine and counterinsurgency strategy guides. Before we continue this incredible story, tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to follow our channel and hit that like button for more stories. The morning sun climbed higher over the Hindu Kush Mountains as Sarah compiled her daily reports, her fingers dancing across the keyboard with mechanical efficiency. Around her, the real warriors prepared for their missions, checking weapons, reviewing intelligence, discussing tactics with the casual confidence of those whose competence was never questioned. They nodded politely when she briefed them on supply schedules, their attention already shifting to more pressing matters before she finished speaking. None of them noticed how she memorized her mission parameters, or how her logistics routes somehow always positioned resources exactly where tactical situations might require them. 3 weeks into her deployment, Sarah's reputation as solid logistics support had crystallized throughout the FOB. Officers requested her for convoy planning, because she never missed a detail, though they attributed her thoroughness to administrative conscientiousness rather than tactical acumen. Her supply manifests were models of precision, her fuel calculations flawless, her maintenance schedules optimized to perfection. What they didn't recognize was the strategic thinking underlying every mundane decision. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez from Alpha Company had begun to notice the anomalies first. During a routine ammunition resupply, he'd watched Sarah calculate payload distributions with the speed of someone who understood ballistic requirements instinctively. When he'd mentioned a potential contact zone along Highway 1, she'd immediately suggested alternative routes that avoided known IED placement patterns, information that should have been outside her operational knowledge. Lucky guess, she'd said with a slight smile, but Rodriguez had served 3 tours and recognized tactical instinct when he saw it. The pattern continued during mission planning sessions. While other support officers focused on logistics timelines, Sarah absorbed tactical details with photographic precision. She knew which units carried which weapons, understood their operational capabilities, and somehow always anticipated their resource requirements before they requested them. Her convoy routes invariably provided optimal positioning for quick reaction force deployment, though she presented these decisions as efficiency improvements rather than tactical considerations. Colonel Martinez, the base commander, had noted her performance during weekly staff meetings. Professional, competent, reliable, all the qualities valued in support personnel. Her logistics brief was always first-rate, her resource allocation flawless, her administrative skills exemplary. But there was something else, something that nagged at his experienced instincts. The way she processed tactical information, the questions she asked, the subtle recommendations she made that always seemed to optimize operational rather than merely logistical outcomes. On this particular morning, as Sarah reviewed intelligence reports that technically fell outside her purview, she noticed movement patterns in Kabul that suggested something significant was developing. The Taliban had been repositioning assets, creating what appeared to be preparation for a major operation. Her logistics background provided perfect cover for analyzing these patterns. After all, Understanding enemy supply lines was essential for protecting friendly convoys. But the analysis she was conducting went far beyond detective logistics into pure tactical intelligence assessment. The emergency briefing convened at 2:30 p.m. sharp. The operations center buzzing with controlled urgency. Intelligence had confirmed what Sarah's pattern analysis had suggested: a coordinated Taliban assault on multiple targets throughout Kabul, designed to coincide with a high-profile diplomatic meeting. But the immediate crisis was more personal. Bravo Team, conducting a routine liaison mission in the city's diplomatic quarter, had gone dark during the initial attack phase. Last contact was 1347 hours, Major Harrison announced, his usual confidence strained. GPS shows their convoy stopped in the Wazir Akbar Khan district, but satellite imagery indicates heavy insurgent activity throughout the area. The tactical display showed red zones spreading across central Kabul like a virus, with Bravo Team's position trapped in the heart of hostile territory. Every conventional extraction route had been compromised or blocked by Taliban forces using coordinated vehicle barriers. Colonel Martinez studied the tactical situation with growing frustration. Special Operations was committed to another priority mission. The Quick Reaction Force was already engaged in defending the embassy compound, and air support was grounded due to civilian population density in the urban environment. We need options, people. Bravo Team has approximately 6 hours of defensive capability before their ammunition runs critical. The silence that followed spoke volumes about their limited resources and deteriorating tactical position. Sarah watched the tactical display with laser focus, her mind automatically calculating angles of approach, choke points, and enemy dispositions. While the infantry officers debated conventional assault options, she was processing the urban terrain like a three-dimensional chessboard. Her fingers traced supply routes on her tablet, but her analysis went far beyond logistics. She was mapping infiltration corridors, identifying blind spots in enemy surveillance, and calculating optimal timing for a precision extraction operation. "What about a supply convoy approach?" she suggested quietly, her voice barely audible over the tactical discussion. The room's attention shifted to her with barely concealed impatience. Logistics concerns seemed irrelevant when soldiers' lives hung in the balance. But Sarah continued, her tone gaining confidence. The Taliban expects military response through main arteries. They won't anticipate a humanitarian supply convoy using secondary routes through the commercial district. Small team, civilian vehicles, medical supply cover story. The tactical officers exchanged glances that mixed professional courtesy with thinly veiled skepticism about support personnel offering operational advice. Colonel Martinez studied Sarah's suggested route with the attention it deserved, his tactical experience recognizing something significant in her analysis. "Mitchell, this infiltration corridor you've identified, how confident are you about enemy blind spots along this approach?" His question carried weight, the kind of professional assessment that suggested he was seeing past her logistics designation to evaluate actual tactical competence. 95% confidence, sir," Sarah replied, her voice steady. "I've been tracking enemy movement patterns for 3 weeks. They're focusing on conventional military approach routes and leaving commercial corridors lightly monitored. The route I've mapped avoids known checkpoints and uses natural urban camouflage." She pulled up detailed street maps, overlaying them with enemy position data that revealed analysis far beyond routine logistics planning. Major Harrison leaned forward, studying her route carefully. This level of tactical analysis, where did you acquire this intelligence assessment capability? The question wasn't accusatory, but it carried the weight of someone recognizing expertise that didn't match official qualifications. Sarah's response would determine whether her suggestions received serious tactical consideration or polite dismissal back to her logistics responsibilities. "Sir, effective logistics requires understanding the operational environment," Sarah answered, maintaining professional neutrality while revealing nothing about the depth of her tactical knowledge. "Supply convoy security depends on accurate threat assessment and route optimization." Her explanation was technically accurate, but deliberately incomplete, offering just enough justification for her capabilities without revealing their true extent. The tactical problem remained unchanged. Bravo Team trapped in hostile urban terrain with limited extraction options and dwindling time. Colonel Martinez made the decision with characteristic military efficiency. We're going with Mitchell's route, but we need someone who understands both the tactical situation and can maintain convoy authenticity under enemy observation. His eyes swept the room, assessing available personnel for a mission that required exceptional tactical skill disguised as routine logistics support. "I'll take the mission, sir." Sarah's words cut through the tactical discussion with quiet certainty. The room fell silent, professional courtesy warring with instinctive skepticism about a logistics officer volunteering for what amounted to a solo infiltration and extraction operation in hostile urban terrain. But her tactical analysis had been flawless. Her route planning had identified the only viable approach, and conventional resources remained unavailable for alternative solutions. Colonel Martinez studied Sarah with the intensity of a commander weighing impossible decisions. "Mitchell, this isn't supply run. This is deep infiltration through hostile urban terrain, tactical extraction under fire, and potential close-quarters combat. Your logistics background," he paused, something in her expression stopping his professional dismissal mid-sentence. The quiet confidence in her eyes wasn't bravado of inexperience, but the calm certainty of someone who understood exactly what she was volunteering for. "Sir, permission to speak freely," Sarah requested, her voice carrying new authority. Martinez nodded, and she continued. "Before my logistics assignment, I spent 4 years with the 75th Ranger Regiment, 2 deployments in Iraq, specializing in urban combat operations and tactical reconnaissance. My MOS transition to logistics was administrative convenience following a classified operation that required career adjustment. The room's atmosphere shifted perceptibly as tactical officers reassessed a woman they'd dismissed as support personnel. Major Harrison pulled up her personnel file on his tablet, his expression changing as classified sections became visible with his command authorization. "Jesus Christ, Mitchell. Operation Serpent Strike, Fallujah 2017. You were part of the team that extracted the CIA asset from the insurgent compound." His voice carried new respect mixed with disbelief. "Why the hell didn't you mention Ranger qualification during your initial briefing?" "Because, sir, I was assigned to logistics. My previous experience wasn't relevant to convoy scheduling and supply distribution," Sarah replied, maintaining professional demeanor while her tactical identity emerged. "But extracting Bravo team from hostile urban terrain, that's exactly the operational environment I was trained for." Staff Sergeant Rodriguez nodded slowly, pieces of the puzzle finally connecting. The tactical questions, the strategic thinking, the instinctive understanding of combat logistics. It all made sense now. Colonel Martinez made his decision with the speed of command experience. "You have operational authority for this mission, Captain. Pick your equipment, coordinate with communications, and execute your extraction plan." "But Mitchell," he paused, ensuring she understood the gravity of the situation. "Those are my soldiers trapped in there. Bring them home." Sarah's salute was crisp, professional, and carried the quiet confidence of someone who had never failed a mission when lives depended on her tactical expertise. At 4:45 p.m., Sarah's civilian cargo truck approached the first Taliban checkpoint, her medical supply manifest and Red Crescent identification providing perfect operational cover. The insurgent fighters waved her through with casual indifference, their focus on military targets rather than humanitarian aid workers. Her route selection had been flawless, avoiding main thoroughfares while maintaining logical supply distribution patterns that justified her presence in the commercial district. The urban terrain unfolded exactly as her tactical analysis had predicted. Taliban forces had concentrated on blocking military approach routes, leaving commercial corridors lightly monitored. Sarah navigated through narrow streets with the precision of someone who understood both enemy positioning and urban combat dynamics. Her truck's cargo compartment contained medical supplies arranged to conceal tactical equipment, ammunition, and communication gear necessary for the extraction operation. At 5:23 p.m., she reached Bravo team's position through a back alley approach that avoided enemy observation posts. Sergeant Williams, Bravo team leader, emerged from defensive positions with obvious surprise. "Ma'am, we weren't expecting logistics support in our current tactical situation." His professional confusion was understandable. Supply officers didn't typically conduct solo infiltration missions through hostile urban terrain. Sarah's response was direct and authoritative. Sergeant, I'm your extraction. Load your wounded. Distribute ammunition from my cargo, and prepare for tactical movement in 60 seconds. The extraction proceeded with textbook precision. Sarah's route planning had identified 3 egress options. Her timing calculations had anticipated enemy patrol patterns, and her tactical preparation had accounted for casualties and equipment requirements. Bravo team moved through urban terrain under her command. Their initial skepticism replaced by professional respect as her tactical competence became undeniable through successful execution. By 7:17 p.m., Sarah guided a convoy through FOB Chapman's gates, delivering Bravo team intact with 0 additional casualties. Colonel Martinez waited in the operations center, his expression mixing relief with newfound respect. Outstanding work, Captain. Your tactical assessment was perfect, your execution was flawless, and you brought my soldiers home safely. The debriefing revealed the mission's full complexity. Sarah had infiltrated hostile territory, coordinated extraction under enemy observation, and successfully exfiltrated through urban terrain that had challenged special operations protocols. The following morning's briefing carried different dynamics. Sarah remained in logistics, but her tactical recommendations now received immediate attention from infantry officers who understood her true qualifications. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez approached her after the meeting with characteristic directness. Ma'am, next time someone needs extraction from hostile territory, I want you planning the operation. Her quiet smile acknowledged both the compliment and the transformation in how her military family now saw her capabilities. Some soldiers earned respect through revelation. Sarah had earned it through results.